Thought Bubble Audio.
Look, up in the sky.
You will never find the more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
Welcome to Beer with Geeks with Tim and Frank.
Who are you?
I'm Batman.
I am Iron Man.
Your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Hi, Christopher. I'm Nero.
My name is Inigo Montoya.
You're a wizard, Harry.
A couple of guys with a couple of beers and a whole lot of pop culture nostalgia.
Make it so, number one.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Beatles.
The name's the dog, Indiana.
Life finds a way.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Now sit back and crack open a cold one, because it's time for Beer with Geeks.
It comes in pints.
Shaken, not stirred.
Great Scott!
I was way off. I knew it started with an S, though.
Hi, and welcome to Beer with Geeks, where two geeks geek out with beer. I'm Tim, and with me, as always, is my man who was sent by the man in black himself. It's Frank. How are you today?
He says hi.
Oh, great. Thank you.
Yeah.
He says hello. Yeah, very nice of him. Johnny Cash, right? That's
Yeah. Oh, no, Superman.
Oh.
Man in Black.
Man in Black, obviously.
Yeah,
Yeah, not Tommy Lee Jones? Will Smith?
No, different guy.
Oh, okay.
They get confused a lot, though.
No kidding. There's a lot of them out there, ain't there?
Yeah.
Frank, how are you today?
I'm doing great, buddy. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing well. Life trudges on as it does.
Life finds a way.
Indeed, it does. Another Man in Black, Ian Malcolm.
There you go. When he's wearing anything at all.
True. I mean, even when his, brilliant Malcolmness is exposed, he's still wearing black pants, I would assume. I don't know. I've never looked down.
Yeah.
Frank, what are you drinking today?
I'm drinking this is a new one for me. Lone Pine Brewery in Portland, Maine. They're not new to me, but this particular Carnival of Horrors Pumpkin Imperial Stout.
Hey, that's the one that I had. That's the one you had? Yeah, that's the one I had.
This is my favorite pumpkin beer that I've tried this season. Favorite new pumpkin beer I've tried this season.
It's excellent.
It is.
Yeah, I had one in my fridge. I almost grabbed it.
Brewed with pumpkin pie filling, maple syrup, brown sugar, cinnamon, nutmeg, ginger, allspice, and vanilla. And boy, does it taste like a pumpkin pie. It's like a dessert beer. It's so good.
Yeah, it is a dessert beer. That's
a treat.
Yeah, it is, absolutely. I had one earlier this week, so I should, but I have one left. I should have grabbed it. We could have been drinking the same thing. That never happens.
Beer twins.
I know. I'm actually drinking something new myself from Boulevard Brewing Company. Which I don't even know where they're from. I haven't looked at the bottle.
Sounds vaguely familiar, Boulevard. I feel like I may have tried something from them before.
Sunset Boulevard, Kansas City, Missouri. Kansas City, Missouri. This is the Magic Drip. I thought because Dr. Fate.
Magic,
Black Adam.
See.
I thought I'd go with a magic one. This is a barrel-aged wheated Imperial Stout with Colombian coffee.
Oh, that's the Magic Drip. I see.
No kidding.
Coffee.
All right, so fill the air while I drink. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is a first try then, a first sampling.
Holy moly, that's good! Wow, hints of chocolate. Interesting. Yeah, I'm getting a big chocolate vibe from this.
Interesting. I guess coffee and chocolate kind of go together.
They can, absolutely.
So that tracks.
It tastes like a fudge brownie.
Oh, wow. So we both have dessert beers.
Wow. And that fits, Frank, because what a treat it was to go to the movie theater to see a movie, right?
Oh boy.
What a treat it was.
Yeah. I'm really glad this one made it to theaters. This was this was maybe the best superhero movie of 2004, and it was really weird to see it in theaters in 2022. But I wasn't mad about it. I was just like, wow, where was this? I feel like I walked out of Spider-Man 2 and into this movie, the
Black Adam is the best movie made in 1995. Right?
I just felt like there was so much about this movie that felt like, oh wow, this is like early superhero genre.
That's exactly how I felt.
For me, it was 2004 is like the pinpoint moment because of like Spider-Man 2 and right before Fantastic Four, the Justice
Daredevil,
Society characters,
Ghost Rider.
Yes, yes, very much from that school of superhero filmmaking to me, which is to say that it was an okay movie by 2022 standards, but 15 years ago would have been the best movie of the year.
Yeah, that's kind of where I left too. Like I found it to be the most mediocre of mediocre movies that I've seen in a long time. It is
very
neither
down the middle.
Yeah,
like,
it is
like so. Yeah,
it
right
is
down,
neither
straight down the middle.
offensive nor incredibly memorable. It does nothing superb, but nothing really bad either.
Mm-hmm.
It just kind of exists. It's kind of a movie that I figure like maybe it'll be on in the background one day, and I'll be like, oh yeah. Yeah, he swung at the mace there. It's cool. All right, well, anyway, moving on. Yeah.
I can see this like on, FX or whatever in the middle of an afternoon and me being like, oh, yeah, okay. Oh, I'll keep this on. Yeah. What part are they up to? Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. This
totally would have been on FXX all the time. Or like, what was that all quote like the male network that always showed James Bond? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Vice.
Yeah. Totally would have been on Vice.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it was fine. And the non-spoiler version is like, if I saw it at home, it wouldn't, like, I didn't need to see this on the big screen. I don't think it really did anything particularly special to merit the largeness. And just because it was fine. It was just fine. Yeah. And you know what the weird thing is that I expected it to just be fine. The trailers were just like whatever, and I was like, it looks fine. Like it doesn't like it looks kind of dull. And I walked out and I was like, I was right. It was kind of dull. And I just it boils everything about superheroes down to their like least interesting parts, I think. And like if I was like saying, if I wanted to get somebody into superheroes or like explain to them why I like heroes, I would not show them Black Adam, because it like, to me, it represents almost every bad part about superheroes. Like that kind of like we have something important to say, but we don't really.
Yeah.
And it was just, it's fine. That's all I can really say about it without spoiling it. I don't know, but what about you?
Yeah, I mean, there were some, I feel almost bad saying that it wasn't memorable, because there were things about it that were like, I would watch a Pierce Brosnan Dr. Fate movie.
True.
I would.
Yeah. I had my own issues with what was happening, but I don't think that really anybody in the film was miscast or like in a lot of ways even misrepresentational of their comic book counterpart. Like I walked out and I was like, that was recognizably Hawkman to me and recognizably Dr. Fate. Maybe not Cyclone, but that's fine. I was like okay with a slightly different version. And even Black Adam was like, it was enough Black Adam mixed with Dwayne Johnson that it was fine. No different than kind of like I kind of watched Jason Momoa be Aquaman, and I'm like, that's not really Arthur Curry, but I'm fine with this version of it.
He didn't seem angry enough to be Black Adam. I feel like Black Adam has a lot more. Not that he wasn't angry, but he was like more like brooding and less angry all the time.
Yeah, he was more like stewing. Like
stewing, stoic, like sort of holding it back a little bit. But by the end of the movie, I kind of felt like, okay, if they made another one, or if he showed up in another movie, I feel like he'd be closer to the Black Adam I expect from comics.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean,
now
Black Adam has
than he was at the beginning.
Changed so much over the years. There've been different versions, different origins, and so like the one that's, to me, Black Adam is still a villain, like, because that's the version that I grew up with, even though he is really more of a benevolent dictator character. Although currently in comics, he's even not the leader of Kahndaq anymore. So, like, there are other people doing it. He's, like, bowed to democracy. and so he is basically the protector of Kahndaq without being its central leader. So if you're trying to make him an anti-hero instead of, I don't know, DC's Doctor Doom, then I can say absolutely. If you need him to walk this gray line, then I can get behind where you're going with this in your character. But so I saw a review that said, I don't know what the new hierarchy of the DC universe is, but it's confusing. And I think that that kind of hits it in. Like, I don't like the hierarchy to me has not shifted.
Yeah. I feel like, well, without spoiling it, I feel like we may find out soon what the hierarchy is.
Maybe we certainly might. But I just, it looks, there are moments of it that looks good. There's some really very cool action sequences in it. Yep. Nothing that like truly stands out, like that replays in my memory. Like it just, but like it still looks good. I found, I know they were going for modern day, like, well, maybe modern day Cairo, Israel, like some around those lines for Kahndaq, for its central city location. But it was kind of monotone to me. It didn't pop as a location. And I found the main character to not be Adam, but I found it to be Adriana and her son. Yeah, totally. Yeah. And, yeah, and as for the location of feeling kind of, I feel like they were trying to make it, because it was a hodgepodge of different places, it kind of was nowhere at this. It didn't feel like it had any identity. I agree. Wakanda feels like it has an identity, right? Yep. It doesn't feel like it's sort of, oh, well, it's a fictional place, so let's just take bits and pieces of different African countries and cities around Africa and sort of make it a hodgepodge of those. They didn't do that. They gave it its own character. And this more felt like a hodgepodge of like, it's a little bit Israel, a little bit Egypt, a little bit, it's a little bit Afghanistan, it's a little bit Iran and Iraq, and like, and which to me is kind of insulting to like. It was a little problematic, honestly, to have it be sort of nondescript Middle Eastern country, Kahndaq. And so like I feel like, and they did that on purpose to make a commentary on colonialism and military occupations of foreign countries, but they didn't. I don't think they said enough about it for it to merit like what they were going with. So, yes and no. I think in some things with Adam, it certainly makes bigger statements, but like not enough for me to feel super comfortable about a man who is not Middle Eastern playing a Middle Eastern character. Well, everyone around him has some nondescript accent, but he is clearly an American with an American accent. That also felt very like 90s, early 2000s. Like we should be past that. But granted, he was technically cast as Black Adam 15 years ago. Yeah, and I feel like part of that, what you just said about the it being a commentary on colonialism, but not really saying a lot about it, just sort of being like, colonialism, right? That's a thing that happens in our world, and then like just moving on from it. I feel like that's a little bit because of when it was written, or at least when it was starting to be written. It could be actually, yes, 15 years ago. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. That was like, you're talking not heyday of the war on terror, but like it was definitely, it definitely would have made a more of an impact 15 years ago than it did now. And of course, it's gone through several rewrites over the years and all of these things and starts and stops. But that probably central theme, it never went away, but it just doesn't hold the same weight. And not that colonial doesn't hold the same weight, but like the way that it's delivered, it's just not hard hitting enough for the world in which we live, and the superhero world in which that it inhabits. Like we're past the point of, I feel we should be past the point of like mediocre commentaries. It's like either make one or don't do it. Right. Yeah. Is this a movie that does commentary or isn't it? And to do like a
pseudo commentary doesn't really cut it anymore. Like, you kind of have to take a stand or don't.
Yeah.
Don't just try to be like, we acknowledge that colonialism exists.
Yeah, and like,
aren't we pretty cool for isn't that edgy?
Right, and because Intergang is not a real country, they're a terrorist organization, then it doesn't hold the same weight, especially since they're Australian. Like,
evidently,
they're kind of all over the place. Yeah, and then but then the head of, so I need to talk about spoilers now. So moving in from spoilers,
yeah,
so like
spoilers.
the head of Intergang is Kahndaqian, so it's not really colonialism because the guy running it, which is allegedly colonialism, is actually of that country.
Yeah.
So it's really more about like moving towards autocracy than that's so like it's unclear about what it wants to be because of that. And so and so that I didn't expect them to even kind of acknowledge that. So in some ways it's like, oh, good, I guess good for you. But
sure.
it just like your half-hearted attempt is like either don't do it or do it, because either make it fun or make it like social commentary, because like your middle ground, but you're not even a good middle ground, it was not working for me.
The mushy middle.
Yeah, because you have the Justice Society and like, well, we're the status quo or whatever that is they say that they do. Like, well, that the status quo for whom? And like they they do ask that question in the movie, and I was like, that just feels icky. Like that feels like a disservice to the Justice Society.
It does, right?
Yeah,
it does. But again, like I have to look at it through the lens of like, this script was started 15 years ago, and so at the time that felt like commentary. Like that was like, wow, the heroes that you think are like all good, what if there was like a little like speck of gray in there? Whoa, blowing your mind, aren't I? Like so
yeah.
And I'm sure that a lot of work was done to like, I'm sure that the differences are stark from where that script started and where it ended, but you can still feel some of the legacy elements that probably carried through.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it was very stop me if you've seen this one before, but like there's an evil regime that's trying to take over, and somebody who is an ally of that evil regime is trying to get a precious artifact from thousands of years in the past, and when he gets that artifact, he will have all the power he needs to rule the world. If that sounds like Red Skull to you, sorry, it was actually this movie.
Yeah, that's I didn't even think of
The Crown is the Tesseract,
Skull,
right?
I mean, so yeah, I mean most action movies have a MacGuffin of some kind. We need to get this thing because of this, but it is like obvious, like it's so.
And I'm not saying
obvious.
They ripped off Captain America. I'm saying
no, it's just an archetypal story, like
exactly.
Yeah, and so to me that's okay, because most superhero movies really are archetypal stories. I wasn't truly I wasn't looking for a lot. I was like, does Black Adam like care about Kahndaq and its people? Is he gonna like do cool stuff? That's really all I was looking for. But even that, it just didn't like kind of gave me that. And then mostly I think because it was either ramming it down my throat, obviously, or the movie was actually about Adriana and Amon, I think his name was.
Amon,
And I was like, they weren't interesting people because they were static characters. They didn't change at all, and they were the main characters. I'm sorry, like they're the characters that started the movie and basically ended the movie. They were always there, and not that they did a bad job. She was very good. I thought Amon was a child, so it's fine.
Yeah,
but
it's true. They were there to bolster him, to inspire Black Adam, right?
Yes, of course.
But it was in a kind of something we've come to expect from maybe a movie out of like the 70s or the 80s, where there's like sort of the stalwart, I believe in you. Like I'm here to
Mm-hmm.
believe in you.
Yeah.
Or gosh, even like the reason I mentioned Spider-Man earlier is like the way that at the end of the movie, all the Kahndaqis come together and they're like, our country, save our,
Oh, totally.
very much like,
Yeah.
hey, you mess with one of us,
you mess with all of us. Yeah.
Yeah. It was extremely that.
Yeah. It was like all 50 Kahndakians that were like in the square or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah. And that just felt like it, like, oh, like he, like all of a sudden it's like he has the power to control the dead. I'm like, does he? Was that like, and then like Sabak can like does that, and then I thought he was a card game.
Yes. Thank you for that. That's how Han won the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah, that's all right. Because we spent so much time with them, and they were static. They didn't change. They didn't do anything. They didn't grow. They caused somebody else to grow. And I thought, truthfully, I thought Adam's progression was good. It was kind of wonky because like you think he's the Kahndakian protector, and he's not. He's actually, it was his son that was chosen, and and all that. And I liked that. I didn't have a problem with any of that. That's fine.
Yeah, same.
It's fine by me. A little unclear as to why the wizards just couldn't take his powers from him. Why did he have to be imprisoned? It's for the reasons.
Because it says so right here on the page.
Yeah, it was one of those. Yeah,
mm-hmm.
And I'm all for suspension of disbelief in a story. Like, I don't need to know how. I don't care how he can fly. How is that possible? But like the internal logic is not consistent. Like, if the wizards can grant powers, why can't they take powers away? Like that doesn't compute. And so I liked his like, I have to learn to be a hero thing, except that like his journey to get there is odd because they already think he's one. So why are they teaching him to be one? And then, but also, what are his actual goals? Because the person that he sought revenge on is dead. So why did Adam kill all of those people when he woke up? Like, he just like killed a lot of people, and they were shooting at him and stuff, but he doesn't know what guns are. And so it's like, and there's just like, there's a lot of that. Like, all of a sudden he can speak perfect English, and I'm like, oh, why is that? Yeah. And why is that? And why is it with a flawless American accent?
And so does everyone in Kahndaq, by the way.
Yes, I know. Which, you know what? And that's one of those things like, I know it's not a real country, so I will just
I know, yeah. I guess everyone in Wakanda speaks English too, so there's that. Yeah,
they do and they don't. Yeah, right. Do they have Wakandian phrases? I don't think they do. So, yeah, that didn't bother me. It really bothered me more like, why is this ancient man just magically speaking English?
Yes.
Like, again, internal logic. There is none.
Yeah.
Because I, as a moviegoer, don't know how the powers of Shazam work at this time. And I'm like, is that part of the wisdom that you get from one of the things? Like, I don't know. And so that was just kind of odd. And, he goes through these phases where he's like, I can learn to speak perfect English, but sarcasm didn't exist.
Yes.
I'm like, didn't it, though? Didn't it? I think sarcasm is universal. Like, it's a tale as old as time. So that was all just fine. It was fine.
Yeah.
It was all fine.
It was fine.
It's fine. I did like the villain being a descendant of the king that killed his son. And so there is like this like greater history to their clash.
Yeah.
But it felt like, and by the way, while I'm monologuing, just so you know,
that's it.
This is the reason I'm doing this.
And because of that, because of the way it was revealed, it felt like, oh, that's convenient.
It is so convenient. It's just
right.
It's just very convenient. Yeah. And like, I don't know. He's this legend and all this stuff. And so Amanda Waller has information on him. I don't know what her job is anymore. Like, why is she so why is Amanda Waller not sending in her own super team that she has to go take out Black Adam? And why are they just not going to kill him? Why? Why are you capturing him? Why is that the thing? I don't understand. It's like in the internal logic of the DCU, the Suicide Squad is made to stop Superman if he ever goes rogue. And the movie loves to tell you, and for years we have heard, the hierarchy is about to change, that Black Adam is the most powerful human to exist, even though Shazam is around. JK, just putting that out there.
Sure.
Same powers. So like, why is she not sending her own team in? Because that's what they're allegedly supposed to be doing. Like that's their whole thing. So why go to the JSA, which is not run well? Sorry, Hawkman. Like,
yeah, no,
he's like in his huge mansion. Good for him, you know. And they're like, we're the JSA. We get stuff done. I'm sorry. Who are you?
Yeah.
Where have you been? Like, why are you a team? Like, how do you all know each other?
What motivates you?
Why do you have two newbies going into the field that you do not tell anything to, and then you basically push them out of the plane, and you're like, you'll be fine? Why don't you had a plane ride to Kahndaq from Louisiana?
Well,
why don't you just fill them in?
You could brief them, or you could then just give them exposition along the way. But
they don't even really do that. Black Adam, he's strong.
True.
The rest of it, you don't have to know. Why don't they have to know it?
Why?
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense to me. And then, like, why is Cyclone great? And like, but she's just as new as Atom Smasher, but he's not great at all. Like, he doesn't know what's happening. He's clearly just supposed to be Spider-Man. Like, he, you know, like his one defining trait is being sorry for things.
I kind of got Johnny Storm vibes from him. Like
I just got Tom Holland vibes, like, all the way through.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah.
And he I don't think he wasn't bad. I just like, why? Like, I understand that, like, yeah, his uncle was the original Atom Smasher. Again, hello. Like, that's just something that also exists. And like, I thought,
my Uncle Fonzie used to be Atom Smasher, but now I have the suit because of the Pym particle. Because
right. Atom Smasher's older. Okay, so like in this DC world, that like the world freaks out when Superman shows up because they've never seen anything like that before. But the JSA has just been running around apparently. And then like I just none of it fits together.
It doesn't.
And they
can't make it.
And they can't make it, so they don't bother, and it's really troubling. And just because it's doing a disservice to an important part of the DC universe.
Mm-hmm.
And like, who's Hawkman? This ship's made of end metal. What the hell is that?
What is nth metal, right? Like, I know what it is, you know what it is, but most people don't.
They like give off X-Men vibes. Here's the big mansion. We have the jet, like all this stuff, and we want you to think like, okay, we're a team and we're good and we're this. But I'm sorry, Professor X wheels around the X-Mansion telling Wolverine a bunch of stuff. Like, he's like, this is what we do. This is where we come from. Blah, blah, blah. It's like 30 seconds of exposition, but it's enough for a general audience member to be like, I get you. Like, you finish the movie, you're like, who the hell are these people? Like, and like you get hints of Dr. Fate where he's like, I've been around for a while. I'm 100 years old. This helmet is alien, apparently. Like, is it? I thought it was magic, but whatever.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, that's like, he's like, I am, Dr. Fate, blah, 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 Lords of Order. And I'm like, okay, well, are those aliens? Like, because you said the helmet was alien, or is it alien in the unstrict sense of like it's foreign to us? Like, it's just none of that worked, and I just found that incredibly frustrating because it's clearly like a hacked movie. It has to be 2 hours.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, it's like boom, 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 because it does not stop once it starts. Like, it just goes. And it's a little exhausting. Yeah.
I have to say, it felt long, and it's only 2 hours.
But it felt longer. Yeah.
At about 30 minutes, I was positive that I was an hour into it.
Yep. Yeah. And it's because they don't actually give you a reason to care until I'd say really far into the movie when it's like Adam's like, it's my son that died, and that's why I'm sad.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm going to be Black Adam instead of Teth Adam. Which is just like insulting to his name. Like, your name's old, so you need a new one. It's just freaking, it's his name. Like,
I know.
Like, oh my God. Yeah, drop the thing that makes you unique because you're a man out of time.
Yeah.
And like, we'll just describe you with a color instead. That'll be fine. Like, what is happening? What is happening?
I don't know.
I don't know. The only thing that I think I liked about the progression of Adam's character is like, here's the throne of Kahndaq. It's yours. And he's like, no, it's gross. It feels weird. I don't like it. And I'm like, okay, good. Character progression.
I like that.
This is, you've kind of subverted my expectation. This is good.
Totally.
Who's in charge now? Because
I'm more of a protector. Yeah, but who's in charge? Well,
but who's protecting? But who's in charge? Because they've been run by this military outfit, which has apparently been mining Eternium or whatever it is. Not Eternium.
Yeah, right.
Is it Eternium? Yeah, because it's the Rock of Eternity, right? That's what they were going for, right? So, but they've been mining Eternium. They make weapons out of it. So he gets hurt that one time, and then we never see that again.
Here's the thing about this movie being written like early in the War on Terror, when now like, the U.S. has pulled out of Afghanistan and stuff. It doesn't have the benefit of it's just sort of like, yeah, well, now that the bad guy, the invaders are gone, you guys can just figure out. Just figure it out. Like, oh yeah, no, a power vacuum always works out well. Always works out well for the people, for the innocent people who live
right.
there.
Oh yeah. Speaking of, like, they're just like flung left and right. Like, Adam Smasher just destroys a priceless like artifact.
Yeah, what? Yeah.
He's like, sorry,
I'm so sorry.
Like,
You and me.
Oh yeah. I mean, the you and me, I didn't mind, but like, you never like, it never comes out of anything. It never goes anywhere. And so I'm like, is Hawkman an alien or is he reincarnated?
It was funny. Like, the you and me thing was funny. Like that dynamic between them was funny, but it never really paid off. It was
it didn't.
Just for laughs. Similarly, I wished I had had more backstory on Hawkman and Dr. Fate, because that relationship could have been really, really like powerful and impactful, and his self-sacrifice could have been so much more meaningful if I had any context for them.
I agree.
Other than a few, sort of cryptic references here and there of like their, like, oh yeah, we have a lot of history together. Oh wow, well they say they have history, so this really sucks that his friend just died.
Yeah, it's a tell don't show kind of thing.
Yeah, totally, totally.
We're good friends. Okay, good. I'm glad that I know that now. Like,
right,
but you don't really give me anything from
flashback,
that.
Something.
And not even Kent being like, I'm 100 years old, and Hawkman maybe saying something like, yeah, well, I've been reincarnated a bunch of times, so I kind of get what that feels like.
Right,
maybe you were around during World War II. Was that a thing? I guess it was, because whatever. Like, it's just stuff like that. It's just wildly like inconsistent. If you want me to care, give me a reason to care. And I care in a way that, like, I went into the movie already liking the characters of Hawkman and Dr. Fate. Yeah. So I was good with that from that angle.
Right.
But as a general audience member,
if you didn't know what you know, we're bringing external, like, we have read these characters since we were kids, and so like we're bringing that knowledge of who Hawkman is, who Dr. Fate is, who Black Adam is. Like, I'm bringing all my DC Universe love to this and applying it, right, and being like, okay, well, yeah, I know that they're Justice Society and they go way back, so okay, cool, but I don't know that from the movie. I just know that from external places.
Yeah, yeah, and you know what? And it's funny because to say all of that is also to say it's fine. It's not bad.
Fine. It's just. It could have been better, but it sure could have been a lot worse.
Yeah.
It could have been a lot less entertaining.
Sure.
It could have been a lot more, like, I want to say disrespectful to the characters. It could have done a lot of things way more wrong than it did.
Yep.
But it didn't.
You know what I will say.
It's more that it's a movie out of time.
Yeah, like he's a man out of time, right?
Like he's a man out of
like
time.
I texted you, like they're so concerned with Black Adam getting a catchphrase without failing to realize that literally everything he says is a catchphrase.
It's so true.
Oh my gosh, he's like, I need a catchphrase, but he's like, but I kneel for no one. That's a good catchphrase.
That's a catchphrase.
That's good. Zod's is kneel before Zod, so like yours is the reverse. That's cool. Like, you know, but no. And then, but of course it settles on, tell them the Man in Black sent you. That's a weak ass catchphrase.
Yeah, not the best. Not the best.
Yeah, just whatever. Costumes were cool. I'm a creature of habit, Frank. You know that.
Cool.
Costumes were cool.
Yes.
Costumes were cool. Henry Winkler was cool.
Winkler. That was fun.
Yeah, I didn't expect it. I was like, hey, why not? Like, why the bloody hell not? So all that was fine. Yeah, it's fine. It was a movie that existed. I felt the trailer showed me, sadly, some of the coolest things, but in the lineup, they weren't even that cool. Like the coolest thing Dr. Fate does is multiply himself and hold Black Adam back. I'm like, come on, man. They're like, this guy's got God level powers, and I'm like, I didn't see one of them. Like,
right? Seriously,
I didn't see one of them. But like everything that you've showed me is something that I've seen from something else at another point and whatever. Like none of it was interesting or special. And the only reason that he was interesting and special is because Pierce Brosnan is just an international treasure.
Did you listen to him on the Empire Film Podcast by any chance?
I did not.
It's actually a really interesting interview because he actually really seems to care about Dr. Fate in a way that I wouldn't have expected. I would expect it to be sort of it was just a role, but he was like, no, I was honored to be like asked to be a part of this and to get to be this character, and like my kids are really into comics, so I kind of understand like how important this character is, and so it was really cool to get to play him. And I'm like, I want to see a movie of like a de-aged Pierce Brosnan playing a young Dr. Fate on like some adventure in like the 60s or something.
Oh,
like,
yeah,
I really want to see like kind of like Black Widow.
Sure.
Like let's see an adventure from before she died, right? I want to see that for Pierce Brosnan's Dr. Fate. Like I think that would be really, really fun. And
I
has
agree.
Great potential.
You know what I actually found really interesting is that he was actually in the suit. Like a lot of the times, like because he takes off his helmet every 3 seconds, to like show that he's Pierce Brosnan underneath there. But like I truly expected him to be Kent Nelson in his ascot and whatever else. But like when he was Dr. Fate, Pierce Brosnan would step nowhere near that. But he would take off his helmet, and I was like, well, there you are in that skin tight suit.
There he is. Yeah,
good for you, man. Like good on you. Like, you did, not that I thought he was bigger than it or anything like that. I mean, this is the guy, he was in Mamma Mia, and he was James Bond.
True.
So I'm not, like, thinking that, like, he's, like, an auteur. He's, like, too big for that. Like, dude knows how to have fun. Like, you know.
For sure.
And so, what I actually will say also as a benefit, the cast clearly was having fun. Like, they actually there's a good energy in the movie, and that people were enjoying themselves. And so I watched a little video of like the JSA cast plus Black Adam, and they were like answering questions from people. I think it was GQ or something like that. And like their rapport with one another is really fun. Like they're like obviously like they're good. All of them are better actors than this movie allows, which I think is also true. But like they enjoyed being a team together. And I think that
it shows.
Yeah, and I've seen movies and superhero movies where that is not true, and it really does suck the life out of the movie. So, so good. I mean, that's all fine. Yeah,
no, for sure. Honestly, it was fun. There was so much to like about it. It's almost like when you meet somebody like, no, they're very likable. It's not that I don't like them. It's just they're really bad at their job. They're a very likable person. They're just so bad at their job.
Yeah.
And it's kind of how this movie was. It's like it's very likable in lots of ways. Dwayne Johnson, obviously, like very likable and likable in this role. Even like I enjoyed him in this role. I don't think he was miscast. I think he obviously, like, since it was first floated however many years ago, it was like, yeah, he obviously looks the part.
Yeah.
I love that they had to CG a skinny version of him, a la Tobey Maguire.
That was
Spider-Man
funny.
1, where he was already buff, and they had to make skinny Peter CG.
Oh, I thought of Chris Evans in Captain America because they did the
that
same
too.
thing then
There
too.
you go.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So I liked that. He was great. I think a lot of the casting was great. I think it is a movie that's kind of stuck in 2004 in terms of its sort of storytelling maturity.
Yep.
So that's it's I don't know. That's not even the it's not even that it's a poor film. It's just that it would have been better a long time ago.
Yeah,
it would have been better received a long time ago.
You know, and it's going to sound really snobby of me, but like there are people that definitely this is their level, right? And there should be superhero movies for people at that level as well.
Yeah.
And if obviously people are enjoying them, people are enjoying them, and the audience score on Rotten Tomatoes obviously says that they are, then like, and we happen to align to the critics more than them, then that's okay. Sure. That's fine.
That's fine.
It's like Venom or something like that, where you're just like, it's not the version of superhero storytelling for me, but if it is for somebody else, fine.
Great.
Fine.
Now, what do we think about where DC is going from here? Because I feel like this could be launching a new phase in terms of, like, I hope Dwayne Johnson continues to have influence here, because I think that he actually could, as much as this movie is kind of mediocre, I think he actually could be one of the things that brings DC filmmaking into a new era. Well, especially if they're going to like try to build the JSA around sort of second string characters in a similar way to like Phase 1 Marvel, using second string characters to
Yep.
They could do something really cool with that if they do it right.
Yeah, well, I think there's a couple of things there. One, I think that it was smart the JSA is a quality superhero team that distanced them from Justice League, which I think they're still trying to do.
Yes.
In some shape or fashion, right?
And you can still bring in like Jay Garrick and like you can bring in the old Flash, the old Green Lantern, like all these characters.
Yeah, I mean the JSA is I mean, Stargirl's on CW. They're here and like they're like they use and even named those characters. Jay Garrick obviously was on the Flash.
Garrick,
There's a lot of JSA characters that like, and so there's like they could go in a couple of very interesting and good directions with that. Obviously, we haven't talked about the mid-credit end scene yet. So Amanda Waller's like, "Hey, Black Adam, you don't want to be in my prison? Go for it. That's fine, but you have to stay in Kahndaq." And he's like, "Whatever, man. That's fine. Like,
I do what I want."
That's right, because I'm Black Adam now. Screw my old cultural name. Now I'm Black Adam. But anyway, so then you have Henry Cavill coming in as Superman, and there's a lot happening in that moment, right? And not just in what he says. He's like, "There's been a long time since there's been somebody that's made the world nervous, aka me, Superman." Yes. Right? And so that's true. I actually like that it's like a direct Man of Steel, like go back to like, I used to make people really nervous. That's what BVS was all about. And now I'm here as Superman in my brighter costume with my John Williams theme. And instead of them going at it right away, he kind of smiles and says, "We should talk," which to me is like, well, isn't that just nice? They want to have a conversation in their super suits. And that was very heartening to me, because I felt like Al Pacino, where just when I thought I was out, they pull me back in so much that like I was ready to move on from Henry Cavill. I thought that the best version of that I had seen of Superman from him was in the terrible Justice League movie, And I said, well, that's as good as it's going to get because they're not interested in having him around anymore.
Right.
And here he comes floating, which he had been rumored for so long, but he's been rumored to show up like at my doorstep with the amount the internet talks about him. So
every time someone sneezes in the direction of making a DC film, it's like maybe Henry Cavill shows up in this.
Correct. Yeah. So I found that wonderful that he floats on in, and they're making a definitive statement with the brightness of his suit, like the deep gold and red and blue. It's the Man of Steel suit recolored.
Yeah.
So I think they recolored it digitally.
I see. Okay.
So because there's the photographer that was on set that took a picture of him, and it's like the regular suit. It's not a new one. Gotcha. And so I think that maybe it's just the one that happens to fit him again. Maybe that there's a whole bunch of reasons why, but that. So it's recolored, and it's like we should talk, but in a light way with the Superman, with the classic Superman theme, says we're turning a leaf here. And we talked about this ourselves, but the idea that that ran through Black Adam is that heroes don't kill people, and Black Adam well, I do. And so in comes Superman, which you're obviously referencing Man of Steel with. It's been a long time since someone's made the world this nervous. Yeah. So are you having a conversation about killing people and the lesson that he learned from that? We both hate the neck snap, but if they're I'd rather have them. I guess I'd rather have them deal with it than ignore it. Yeah.
No, I get what you're saying there, and I agree with you. I'm actually not sure that line from Hawkman, "Heroes don't kill people," I'm not sure that was even a reference to that.
No, I don't think it was. I think that was just the story, the anti-hero story that they were telling. I think it just happens to.
It just so happens.
Add some texture.
I said this to you jokingly, like Hawkman saying "Heroes don't kill people" feels like Hawkman's review of Man of Steel, but that was my immediate thought as soon as that happened. I was like, wait a second, didn't you make a movie where the hero killed somebody again? But whatever. And also Batman, and also never mind. But okay, cool. So heroes don't kill. I'm cool with that being Carter's stance that heroes don't kill people. I'm on board with that.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, maybe they use this as an opportunity to sort of reckon with how I would prefer the next snap didn't happen, but seeing it as it has happened. How does he move on from here? Maybe that's something
maybe that's a story that they tell, and if he's in
I'd rather they
place
tell it
to
than
tell that story,
the rug, right?
Yeah, he died, he came back, blank slate, whatever. What I did see, I saw an interview with Dwayne Johnson that said that they're a long way away from Superman versus Black Adam. That is not a story. That was not meant to be this is the next movie. But it more this is Black Adam inhabits a larger world that is connected to everything that goes back to the very first one of this universe. And so he said he expects Black Adam to show up in his own movie, another movie of his own, in other movies with other characters. It's not like he's only reserving himself for Superman versus Black Adam, and that's the next time we're going to see Superman either, because we also know that they're actively making a Superman movie.
That's interesting, because I had heard speculation online saying the opposite, that don't get excited for Man of Steel 2 first, because they're probably going to make Superman versus Black Adam before they get
from the horse's mouth. That is not what they're doing.
Yeah, that's interesting that it's actually the reverse. Because I would prefer there to be another Superman movie before we tell that story. But
me too. I mean,
I also don't know that we need a Superman versus Black Adam.
I don't either.
Do we need to fight each other? Really?
No. I feel like I've seen Superman. I've seen a versus Superman movie already. I mean, granted, him fighting Black Adam would be a fairer fight, but is that the turn for Black Adam? It's not Superman as the villain, but as Black Adam as the villain, or whatever. That's so far down the line. But whenever they feel like they want to tell that story, let them tell that story if that's where they're going. But I feel like a lot of that was just to get people in the theater, totally. Get them talking, that kind of thing. But anyway, yeah, I was happier to see Henry back than I thought I was going to be. Like, I actually got excited. Like, oh my God, she's like actually doing it. Like you could be a really great Superman. We wish you to be. You know, you only lack the script to show you the way. You know.
Oh my God. You only like the script to show you the way.
Yeah. So, so I'm excited for that. And spinning into other DC news, you know, as of, you know, recording this, we learned that James Gunn and Peter Safran were named co-chairman and CEOs of DC, rebranded DC Studios. And that to me, truthfully, is really exciting.
That's a very interesting move. Very interesting.
So they were both on the committee to find the new chair of DC. And I think maybe Zaslav, the head of Warner Brothers, turned to them and be like, could you guys just do it? Like, yeah, you know, it's one of those. Like,
that's a very common tactic in business is to get the person you want to do the job to help you find the person and use that as a way of talking them into doing the job. It's like, you know, all these people you've helped us interview, you've seen how we can't find anyone who can do the job. Maybe, I don't know, this is crazy, but I'm just spitballing here. Do you want to maybe do it?
Yeah,
it's a very common tactic.
I mean, it worked. If that's the case, it worked. What I like about this pairing, and what you have to say after, Peter Safran's very prolific and respected and successful producer. The Conjuring universe, there's like a $2 billion gross on all of those movies. He produced Shazam, Aquaman, the Suicide Squad, Peacemaker, basically every new DC thing that's come out except for the upcoming Flash movie has been under part of his producing thumb. And so that's the producing side. But then you have James Gunn, who like deeply cares about these characters, like turned a piss poor like movie with Suicide Squad into a much better The Suicide Squad.
Suicide Squad, yeah.
Peacemaker, in my opinion, was one of the best things DC's actually put out, period. Like, it's really, really good storytelling. And he was in the Marvel machine for years. That's
the interesting thing about it, right?
Yeah. He worked, 3 movies, because he filmed Guardians 3. So, 3 movies plus the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special that's coming out. Yeah, it's like he's seen how it works, how it functions, where do you go? And I think, truthfully, that's good insider information. And even if they don't exactly move in that direction, that's good for him. Really good for James Gunn. That's they should have done something like this a long time ago. A long time ago. Walter Hamada, that they should have just skipped that and gone straight to this. Yeah.
That was, and hindsight's 2020 and whatever. But I really feel like you needed to go to somebody who was not a corporate choice, but a storyteller choice.
Yeah, that's what I love about it. That you actually do have not the corporate, because producing is its own creativity and its own challenge, but you do have the corporate side and the creative side. Let's work together to solve this. And I think you never find another Kevin Feige, who just happens to, I think, be good at both.
He has both. Yeah. His experience in both worlds. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a good pairing of people who have those skills
and who already work well together
Yes. Yeah. They're already a team. It's a very canny move. Now this is now on a personal note. I hope that I feel like some of the tone of what particularly when I think about James Gunn, I'm not sure I would give James Gunn full access to every DC hero that I love, right? I'm not sure I want him to direct or produce every DC hero that I love. Now, being the head of the studio is very different than being the director or producer on a film. It's up to him now to hire the right person for those jobs, right? So it's as a good storyteller, I want to say I trust the two of them to do exactly that. To find the right people for the right job, for the right movie, and hire those people. And I hope they do.
Yeah, and I think that a good creative person will understand that everybody has a different type of creative process and a different type of story they want to tell. And like James Gunn, like has like it's Scooby-Doo to Slither to Super to to Guardians of the Galaxy. Those are all enormously different in tone. Like, and so I wouldn't sit somebody down to watch Slither and Scooby-Doo and be like, it's the same director. Like, so it's not like I don't know, almost like Tim Burton, where you're like, it's always this,
Yes.
where it's like mostly always this. He's got a good range, and I think that I don't think that they're hiring him to be like, make everything the Suicide Squad or make everything Peacemaker.
That's what, like one of my initial thoughts was like, is everything going to be like that kind of a tone? But he's smarter than that. He is a better filmmaker than that.
Yep.
To just be like, what if like everybody was getting their heads chopped off and making jokes like dick jokes? Like, I don't think that's how it's going to be.
No, I think that worked for the movie he was telling.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. I really do. I trust him. I trust the two of them to pick the right people and put the right people in the right jobs.
Yeah. Well, so to go back to the Superman thing, they asked Walter Hamada for Henry Cavill. They were like, can he cameo? And Walter Hamada said no. And so Dwayne Johnson was like, okay. So then he just went to Zaslav or whatever, and he was like, can we have Henry Cavill? And they said yes. So, and I think that tells you a bit about the politics of what was happening at that studio for so long.
It turns out that a lot of people were going over Walter Hamada's head for a long time, which means he was a dead man walking for a long time.
Yeah. Certainly. I think so. And not that everything that he pumped out was not good or anything like that.
No, it just means that he was like kind of powerless in the power structure at Warner Brothers.
And I think that it was such a cluster for so long. Yeah. And not just DC, all of Warner Brothers. And so
Yeah. Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so
I do have to wonder if, well, up until today, as we're recording this today is when we're learning this James Gunn, Peter Safran news. Up until today, I was beginning to wonder if Warner Brothers was trying to pump up the value of DC so they could sell it to someone, because it's been such a difficult set of IP for them to deal with for so long now. I was starting to wonder do they just want to like make some movies that get attention and sell it to the right bidder. But if they're investing in these guys as head of a new division called DC Studios that puts together, movies, TV, animation, everything, I guess they're not going that direction. I guess they are really trying to like, how can we do this right?
Yeah.
Because there are stories to be told, and more to them, more importantly, there is money to be made.
Yeah, and I, especially for Warner Brothers, that only had like the money to release 2 movies this year.
Yeah,
like for the rest of the year. So I think that as a business strategy, like you can understand like selling major IP to pay your bills would make sense, but knowing that, I'm sorry, just Batman is worth more than the couple of million that you're going to get, like for him, down the line. Like you may get like, let's say you get 500 million for Batman, but over the course of how many years, you're going to make way more than that.
There's so much more money to be made off that character than you would make in a sale.
Yeah. And so, I think that I don't think DC is going to separate from Warner Brothers anytime soon. They're too.
No, I don't. I was starting to entertain that thought, but I don't. Clearly, they're investing in it, so which is the smart thing to do. The thing that I want to see, the thing that will signal to me that they are serious about this, will be if they let James Gunn and Peter Safran make decisions without corporate like interference, because so much of the last 10 plus years of Warner Brothers decisions about DC characters has felt like it's all been done by committee, well, someone up the chain disagrees with the creative person, so let's find some halfway of doing it.
I mean, I think Black Adam is actually a great example of that. That movie is made by a whiteboard, like no question.
Totally.
Yeah,
totally.
You have to hit these things. You cannot do these things, like so on and so on and so on.
Right, and then executive number 5, who has never is not a storyteller, thinks it's really important that we have we need to have a Thanagarian snare beast in the third act.
Yeah, exactly.
Why? Because he says so.
Mm-hmm.
Like that kind of a thing. And that's their movies are rife with that. And I hope that by hiring these 2 creatives to be co-chairmen and CEOs of this spin-off studio, hopefully the buck stops with them. And they're the decision makers.
Yeah.
Hey, one thing we forgot to mention in this movie is that Amon's room was literally wallpapered with DC characters.
Yeah.
And it was mostly, if not entirely, New 52.
I noticed
stuff.
that. Yeah, some of it. I mean, the Superman poster that gets burned is
New 52 Superman.
And it was not New 52 Superman. That's the one there's one that is behind him that is not burned. That's New 52 Superman, but the one that gets burned is Eddie Barrows's Superman, and it's
okay. I guess I was thinking
it was pretty old. Yeah, because
but like the Aquaman one,
was New 52. I think
New 52.
Batman, I'm pretty sure was.
I'm pretty sure Batman. Was there a Wonder Woman poster?
There was, but I'm not positive if it was New 52 or not. But yeah, I thought that was funny. What?
Okay.
Yeah, like they're just like he gets like the old versions. I guess it maybe be like they've been up there for a while, and a comic spill out of his bag, and it's a Wonder Woman Rebirth comic.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
That's the Wonder Woman. Yes, it was Rebirth. Yes.
Yeah. That was funny. That's some in-house branding if there ever was one, right?
And fun. That's like a fun little.
That's fun. Yeah, you own these characters by all means. Like, I'm sorry, if superheroes were real, there would be there are going to be posters of Superman and people wearing shirts and like all that stuff. And I mean, Marvel makes fun of that stuff, right? In She-Hulk, they were like, do you want some Movil shirts or whatever? Yeah. So it's good
Avongers?
Stuff. Yeah, it's Avongers. That's right. Yeah, I'll take an Avongers hat. Yeah. Good stuff. Anything else you want to say about Black Adam, the future of the DCEU, which I was satisfied with the mid-credit scene. I think it was the best part of the movie, sadly.
Kinda.
Yeah, so between that and the James Gunn and Peter Safran news, I'm feeling pretty good. Like, we were just saying in our group chat that like I'm feeling some superhero burnout. Like, where do you stop watching? Where do you start? What do you keep up with? There's just so much getting pumped out all the time, and I just like have other things I also want to watch. And I barely have time to watch those things. I barely have time to watch the superheroes things. Like where do you draw the line and where do you not draw the line? And honestly, this kind of like gave me some some good tingles. Like, let's get some good DC content back in the game. And not that there hasn't been some good content, but it's just mostly been on TV.
That's true. Yeah. That's part of what makes it hard to decide what to watch, though, right? Because it's like, do I watch 9 episodes of this show? Do I watch this movie? Do I there's so much, like the shows are so much more in volume. Yeah. That it's like, okay, this is a bigger time commitment. So am I going to commit to this or not?
Yeah. It's getting to the movie is a harder commitment than watching the television show. If I could just watch the movie at home, then that would be the best. But even that is hard. Still haven't seen Morbius because, I mean, it's not good probably. But like,
so it's not yet Morbin time for you.
I want to know if they say it in the movie. No one will give me a good answer. Like, I just kind of have to know. Now
tune in next week when we find out.
We should watch. We should watch Morbius. Like, we haven't hate watched anything in forever.
True. That would be a fun.
Yeah,
I would do that.
Yeah. One day
we'll talk.
Yeah, we're talking now, Frank. While you're talking, tell the people where they can find us, though.
Well, yeah, I can talk to you about where you can hear us talk about talking. Beerwithgeeks.com is the website for the show. You can see where you can find all of our episodes going back several years now. And you can, of course, check out thoughtbubbleaudio.com, where all of our shows live, all of our shows across the whole network, us and a bunch of our friends. You can support the network at patreon.com/thoughtbubbleaudio. A couple bucks, $1 a month is all it takes really to help help support us. You can also support us with ratings and reviews in all the podcast apps from A to Z, from Amazon to Z, to from Apple and
from
Amazon
Emma to Zon. You are
Emma to Zon. Ratings, reviews mean a lot. And just tell a friend. Just tell a friend, if you enjoyed this episode, like tweet it or tell a friend to listen to it. Share something funny that Tim said, something clever that Tim said. I didn't say anything funny or clever, but Tim did. So, tell people about you only lack the script to show the way or whatever. Yeah.
Is that the title of this episode?
Now it is.
Yeah, I had another one and it disappeared in my brain. So maybe it's that one. I don't know. Good stuff. Oh, maybe it's Hawkman Reviews Man of Steel.
Hawkman, movie critic.
I'd watch it. It's like Harvey Birdman, but Hawkman. Yeah.
Yes.
I would watch that.
Harvey Hawkman. Carter Hawkman.
Anyway, Frank, this was fun. I'm glad that we got to watch this movie, even if we felt that it could have been better. We still got to go to the movies, and I feel like that is a victory in of itself. So good on us. So until next time, cheers.
Cheers.